want to talk to you now about what is African liberation. Now, 2 words. African. I want to start there first. We all are African. But what does an African mean to be? How will they define it for yourself? Economically, what does it mean to be African? Politically, what does it mean to be African? Culturally, what does it mean to be African? The answer, now we got time. Now we're the ones who we define what's in the African and what's in not African. Now we got that right now, Dave. Now stop it right. The first thing when the European take from me, now we right to sovereignty. We right to rule ourselves. We right to determine how we educate the kid. What if we the teacher? For employ yourself. What if we they produce? Will we lead? Will be friends, allies, with the nation on the other side, Guinea, Liberia? Will we able to exchange? These are the questions. They took that from me. The right for me to decide. It was stolen through a process. So, just as Brother Muhammad talked before, now 500 years of oppression, slavery, colonialism, murder we say, and that's in here, Salon. So when we say the African identity, we mean say, no matter what side you did, you're black, you're not African. No matter what thing that you try, you're not African. No matter what thing that you political party, you're not African. Pan-Africans put their African identity first. This is the first thing to understand about Pan-Africanism and this African liberation struggle. The second word, now liberation. It's why they can say you rule. You mean freedom. In the case of Kwame Nkrumah, he said simply African Freedom Day. For me, as a Pan-Africanist, I analyze Kwame Nkrumah for a contribution to the African world. I can understand saying his own ideal before celebrating April 15th. But the way where the Pan-African struggle really goes, the splits coincide, and the ideal we go before. When the African liberation movement, the struggle, will be there inside, when does it begin? Where does it begin? Historically, how? In modern times. I'm saying since the European came to Africa for the purpose of slaving our people, colonizing our people, stealing our resources, just like they do today. It's been over 500 years. Here in Salon, now 1462, when they can talk about Pedro de Sintra. We come here, we come watch the mountain, when he come and rain season in there. So, and the rain, the thunder. From the ship where the white man come, he said this, he favor, now lion, now roaring lion. Now in Portuguese language, his name is Sierra Leone. He never stepped foot on his mainland. He named me from the ship. My own interest in the name. What did he do they see? He didn't name me back. Like I talked, saying, the first thing when the white man did for me, now this struggle, now with sovereignty, the ability to define yourself, determine for yourself your own lifestyle, your own future. And the first step, now we name. We come name the land. From the ship over 462. 1462. You know what I'm saying? Shortly after that, 30 years later, a white man from Spain, from Portugal actually, but Spain, they finance him. We know him historically as Christopher Columbus. Raise your hand if you sabi that name down there. Christopher Columbus. Sabia? Okay, well, Christopher Columbus is now the first European where in history, the white man can say he crossed over the Atlantic Ocean. Before the white man don't believe say they will cross over. They had theory where they talk say, now the earth is flat. If you go out in the water, you will fall. Nothing no day like the other side. 1492, Columbus reached the Caribbean. History of the world was permanently changed after that. Permanently changed after that. This is the origins of the modern African liberation struggle. And I'll be wrong if I say it started with Columbus. I'll be dead wrong because many people don't understand, say, from day one, when the Europeans come here, we really struggle against them. Some of them, maybe not all. We keep the ones where they can collaborate with them down there. But the masses of people, there was resistance. That resistance is a fight. That fight is for freedom. That freedom is our liberation. So when you say, what's our African liberation come out? It come out in contact between the European world, we here in West Africa, they go down Angola and inland, where they target to be for massive enslavement. Millions and millions of African lives follow. We didn't fight yourself now, yeah. Just like when we look across Africa now, we see fights, party fights, tribal fights, fight, all sides. Even here in Freetown, sometimes you can walk from one side to the other side and you see 3 fights in 5 minutes. 3 palava. The Peking they make palava, the women they make palava by themselves, the old party they make palava, all sides. What that palava down there is misplaced rage, misplaced fighting. They fight themselves. You know the benefits we. Well, it don't start today, I think I'll tell you that. It's not the modern generation of young people. It's not the old power we they're alive today. This is something where we did inherit from centuries and centuries and centuries of conditioning and oppression. Now this we can really understand though. Where this condition will be there inside, we don't put yourself there. Not too weak youth will come, put yourself into this condition. In Africa or abroad. So that fighting will really happen here. Beaucoup men get captured. Beaucoup men get captured. Many Peking, small Peking, they have records in Charleston, South Carolina, which was the main place where they take Africans from Sierra Leone directly to North America. Now Charleston, South Carolina. There, they have records of the slave trade, what they do. They have advertisements from 200 years ago, and they said, oh, these are fine slaves from Sierra Leone. They started plant rice. You see that rice? That rice is the #1 cash crop where it built the British Empire. The #1 cash crop, rice and sugar, tobacco. This provides the startup capital for what do we see today? This IMF, this World Bank, the money where they can borrow with. Now the accumulation of all the money where they don't take from me. Imagine that if you are loaning you money back. I rob you. And then I say, well, if you want them back, I don't know to you. This is the imperialism. This is the exploitation. We need a different system among ourselves in order to bear it. So those African people, where they didn't go, suffered through the Middle Passage. Many of them were captured in their villages, on their way from one place to another. Captured, kidnapped, just like we're afraid right now. Every time election comes in Salon, we're afraid of kidnapping. We don't know why. Whenever there's a political dispute, we're afraid of kidnapping. We don't know why. Well, we have political disputes here for hundreds of years. And in the past, we really fight to ourselves. We really capture the other side and sell out to the white man. Exchange them for rum, for umbrella, for nothing. They have built their own world up. And now we're under. So the liberation struggle will be there, Brian. You know new. You know new. And Freetown, The South will be there right now. They play a very, very, very significant role in this African liberation struggle. And so, will they come up to that now? Sierra Leone, not a small place, but it only exists if you consider the map of your enemy. Only if you validate the map of your enemy is there a Sierra Leone. These maps are even part of colonialism. We must decolonize. If you go to Liberia, they want to know what's how you come out, show identity. With grandpa, 300 years ago, 200 years ago, what passport? What passport they need for travel? That makes me economics, you don't control. You know to move, you know to trade, you know to venture. My big problem. Whereas you see the ones where they can come criticize me. They can come make a report, say, Salon, now second lowest GDP in the world right now. Second. Out of all the countries in the world, they say Salon, they produce. Only one country they produce less than we. Only one. All this land, all this talent, we're able to produce too big. Where the toilets? It's 2023. Where you running water? Now I'm telling you, 10 years, I still ask the same questions. So I know how you feel when I hear you going. I can feel them. So the reason why I always talk and say Sierra Leone, to me, I talk for myself. Now the birthplace of Pan-Africanism. Now me can talk. Don't give for, you have your own opinion. Maybe somebody can say Ghana. Me, I say, in order for Pan-Africanism to exist, we must be fighting for liberation. So we don't start fighting for liberation in 1958 or. You know, what happened 500 years ago, it impacts what happened 5 minutes ago. What happened 5 minutes ago, it gets will impact what happened the next 5 minutes from now. History not continuous thing where they continue to live and relive until we're able to correct the mistakes. So, I say that because you need the material conditions and you need the subjective conditions. Meaning that you need the conditions for Pan-Africanism to come into existence. You need the ideal, you need the organization, and you need the will to see it through. Those three things you need. And I feel say the place where it comes together the first time in Africa, La Salon. I feel say Freetown itself, an example of that, now proof and evidence of that one day. The Captain treat us for, I don't cry. Oh, who made that wahala about the cotton tree? Oh, now which business, now which business, now which business, now which business. The cotton tree, for Una, we don't sabi. In 1792, when the founding group of Freetown, when they arrived here, March 11th, they come from Nova Scotia. How many of you heard of Nova Scotia? Nova Scotia? Okay. Now, a place where they're inside Canada. But them people down there, they were never enslaved in Nova Scotia. They was never enslaved there. They were there for a few years. But they protested the conditions where they found there. These people, they were called British loyalists and their families. These British loyalists, they don't ever one day be British. Africans live. These people were enslaved, and during the American Revolution, where the United States of America was born out of a revolution, it was not born out of a democratic process. The United States of America was born out of a violent revolution between the Europeans who had been colonized in North America and those who represented the monarchy, Britain itself, the colonizer. Yeah? So, they didn't fight themselves over the American colonies. But in the middle of the fight, now the British, they got smart. They said, hey, you need help. They said, well, if any black person were a slave, if you want to be free, run from your plantation and come to the British side. Will they give you guns? Will they give you freedom? Later, will they give you land? This was the promise. This was the promise. Later on, after the British lost that war, Britain evacuated thousands and thousands of Africans that had ran to their side. The majority of them, they take them to the Caribbean. They take many of them to Jamaica, from plantations in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. They evacuate those Africans down there. Now we know people, when they've been there with family, everything. They're enslaved, but they didn't let people live. Now, they get to go back to a whole other experience now. They've been in hope for freedom. They take them to the Caribbean. They re-enslave them there. The 3,600 that they took to Nova Scotia, Canada, almost 1,200, 1 in 3 sports. The black people, they criticize Britain. Say, hey boy, what y'all do? We don't bleed like them, we don't fight like them. But you promised me. Eventually, one man, named Thomas Peters, he goes on a mission to London. And he discussed with the abolitionists there. The abolitionists are those few, I would say, liberal white people who would have rather colonized Africa than to continue the transatlantic slave trade. So they said we want to end slavery, but they want to stop colonialism. That's how you need Freetown. They need a population that can withstand the malaria. You know what they call Freetown white man's grave, man? They can't hold this colony. Without malaria, Sierra Leone would be like South Africa. The white man would have loved to settle here. They would have loved to wipe us out. Believe me? Now they're trying to do it in an indirect way because they can't stay too long. They give them up. Yeah? So, that group that came back, the point that I want to make, we say African liberation. African liberation is made in the hearts, in the minds of the African who was taken to the diaspora. Not only back then, but even now today, when you can turn on the TV, you can see we still take part in the struggle. You can see we protest thousands sometimes in the streets for we rights. Basic rights to a job. Against police terrorism. The police, they terrorize me now in America. And we don't communities. They terrorize me. When we came back, one aspect is not known. Out of the population that came back, 1 in 3 was women. So it means that you got 2 men for 1 woman. You follow me there? So what side they pull their wife from? Now the native, now the indigenous, they mix the bloodlines long ago here. One of the preconditions for PANAFRICANISM is that we figure out how to live together as families. This place, despite the square where they live on, now the promised land for the first group of Africans to return from slavery. If Freetown is not there, Liberia is not there. If Freetown is not there, Liberia is impossible. We can say even further, without ITA Wallace Johnson, maybe we don't even get a Kwame Nkrumah. Maybe we don't get a Kwame Nkrumah without ITA Wallace Johnson. And we own Freetown, Gold brother. We take this information about how for free, how we can organize. In fact, how the young people can organize. West African Youth League. You see the theme? Huh? The youth organized for Pan-Africanism. West African Youth